So this is a really pretty rare, great opportunity. This design of this splat is the Owl's Eye splat, which was developed in coastal Massachusetts. But this design, the specific adaptation, you wouldn't confuse with Massachusetts. This is attributed to Felix Huntington of Norwich. So the same guy that made that chest made this chair, and really shows the fantastic elements of design that he developed. It's great, really unique style. And we've seen groups of these chairs put together, and really a few of them are made from the same template, but it almost looks like he worked freehand without a template, because the designs of his splats vary from chair to chair. Sometimes these little kind of seagulls or eyebrows up here go up into the crest. Sometimes they're below the crest. Sometimes this is a quatrefoil instead of a diamond. Sometimes the diamond is down here. It's really a really interesting character, and his kind of creativity is pretty amazing. He was also well known for these little scrolled volutes on the ears, and the shape of the crest with this little return and then the swelled center. And you can see that same crest on that chair that Arthur just put up. And that is also by Felix Huntington, but really quite different than this chair, and shows his creativity within the creation of the splat.
So we don't think we've ever seen the same chair twice by Felix Huntington. There's always a variation. And I was talking to our cabinet about it, and he said, and he's the one who contributed to the writing of that book, and he said, we never found the same thing twice in Chapin furniture either. Never. Every piece was unique, and maybe that was a selling technique. They could say, hey, your chair, your high chest, or your chair, or your chest and drawers is different from every other. And so we have never found the same. In fact, the most incredible thing on this chair is these knee brackets. Nobody's ever seen anything quite like it.
We've seen before this kind of simple arch. That's a kind of classic Felix Huntington design. But that chair, again, going with that idea of rococo, exciting visual excitement, movement, even something a little unpredicted. So that's the use of those little lobes.
How much variation is there, if there is variation in the stretchers and in the shape of the seat, or
it's usually just the splat and the crest rails. Usually the stretchers are pretty much in the legs.
So the base from the seat down, aside from
right.
the...
Yeah, that's pretty true. And I'm going to take this one down, because then I'm going to show you something. We have a pair of these. These are Chapin chairs that have the original leather seats. And we're pleased to say that we just sold these to a museum in Virginia. And because these two chairs have survived in like absolutely 100% perfect condition, including every brass tack is still in place. But one of the things that Chapin did was in his upholstery, you can't see it as well down here. Yeah. Yeah. The other one is up front, has a particular glue block that Chapin has. And so what we did is we actually x-rayed, our local veterinarian x-rayed the chair for us, because in order to prove that it was Chapin, one of the things that he did was there's a round tenon that goes from the crest rail into this is called the style, and by x-raying it we could see that it was the round style, because this is so tight we couldn't separate it, and there was no way of knowing whether this was Chapin or not. And so I took it down to our local veterinarian, and he said, oh sure, I'd love to do it. So we have the proof that it was a round tenon, And so Mr. Chapin, or Leffler Chapin, or maybe Aaron, probably because it was made around 1785, and that's why the museum bought it. They wanted a chair made around 1785.
So we're in communication with the senior curator, Sarah Mesca, and that's at the Museum of the American Revolution at Yorktown. So it's right in the fort of Yorktown, where the famous battle was, so this is really exciting. And she was looking for a chair made around 1785. And we discussed a couple possibilities, and then I was looking around and I thought, well, this is an interesting example because it has definite Chippendale elements, but it's kind of the precursor to the Federal style. And what really sealed it for me, I was able to find an example that was purchased for a wedding here in Connecticut in 1783, and then an example purchased here for a wedding in Connecticut in 1787. So it lines up perfectly with 1785, and it goes in their gallery with the evolution of the new nation and the emergence of the new nation that happened immediately after the Revolutionary War.
And so we've been talking about, there's our website again. One of the things that Chapin did was he brought the side rail through and made a tenon right here. And here it is, right here, if you can see it. So I know it's getting late, and you've been a great audience, but any other questions? You know, it's there's a lot. We fed you a lot of information, and I mean, we can go on and on, but
We didn't even get to the candle stands.
yeah, we have 6 candle stands. This is a rare opportunity to see how they upholster, and both of these have the original upholstery. Think about it. I mean, these chairs are 1785 approximately. That's 15. That's a lot of years. So, one of the things that Chapin did was he used a really wide frame, and that is a classic. That's like him signing it. And it still has, when Kevin turns this over, you'll see underneath this linen is the remains of the original marsh grass. It's still there. And this one has the same thing, but it even has the original leather. And so these are 2 really rare examples. And this is what we call sackcloth. This is the webbing. That is actually 18th century webbing. And so it's really wonderful to have the opportunity to see these things, because if you go to a museum, first of all, you can't get within 12 feet of it, and you have to be wearing white gloves. But you're welcome to come up and take a look at, see how this was all done.
Yeah. And another element that Chapin did bring back to Philadelphia, that's an important aspect, index feature that you want to look at with chairs when you're attributing furniture to him, is he used these 2-part glue blocks, where there's a small rectangular glue block in front and then a larger kind of rounded or triangular glue block behind it, and that flanks the leg post. And so those 2 pieces fit in perfectly and make a great seal, you know, a really nice firm joint on that leg. And so that's a Philadelphia technique. In Philadelphia, that would most likely be southern yellow pine, and in Chapin, he used eastern white pine. So, and that's one of the ways we know this is a Chapin chair, not a Philadelphia chair.
You can have over time.